So when you are designing a component, think in like two directions. One is the consumer and the another one is the library. And you have to build a widget in such a way that all your consumers are satisfied. So you have to think first that how consumer is going to use it. For instance, if you are working in a lot of if you guys are working in the companies, you must be using some design system, right? And you guys would be using the design system components in there. So how design system components are being built that every developer is able to use that, right? So type ahead widget, first we see that how the consumer is going to use that widget. So in the consumer part, how will you use the autocomplete? So it will be like an autocomplete. Then you pass the props. So props is important. I start with the props, but you can do however you prefer. But then how you're going to use it basically. So you will have a get suggestion. So first thing you need to tell your widget is, okay, this is the suggestion list I want to render. So you will pass the suggestions. Here, instead of the suggestions, I'm passing it a callback, which is taking a query and returning me a promise of suggestions. I'm using it that way. You can also pass the suggestions, but but then if you pass directly the suggestions, then you will need an event so that when user types, it should tell, okay, it should trigger a callback. So basically, get suggestions is getting called when user types on the input. It will call the get suggestion method, which is given by the developer who's using the component. Then render input. So all these are the customizable parts. So now if I'm using the library, I want to tell library, don't use your component. I also want to give my design system component and use that. So that is why I will give like a function render input and give HTML. So this is an optional attribute. You can use, like, this will be an optional thing, but you should consider it as a prop. And similarly, render suggestion, it's also a customizable thing. So you will pass that, and this will return also an HTML element. Then render loader, loading state will have some minimum length, is the minimum length of the query after which the results should come. We can pass the maximum results, that how many results we want from the API at a time. Debounce delay time, if you want to have a debounce delay of like 300 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds, depending on the use case. Then cache size, cache expiration. Show close button is whether you want to show the close button or not. On close, on clear, close on escape. So all these, they're just like, you can, all these customized things you can think that should be a part of it. So just give as many props you think that it should, okay, a consumer should be also giving this, like I should also give an option of close on escape. So all these things that a library should consider while building their component, all the use cases. So basically these are all the props. And then show more results is when you are clicking on show more results, what should happen? Should it load more results, or it should redirect to another page? So all these are the props, right? And then we'll have some JS events. So how this is implemented. So if you're building an autocomplete, how will you make it, right? If you will have a search box, and your autocomplete may be some autocomplete function which will have an input and on change. When you are typing, it is hitting an API which will bring results to you. So it will have an on change event, and on the on change event, we will be triggering the event which is passed by the consumer. Similarly, we'll have an on close event that is also passed by the consumer, but you can also have your own close on event as well. In the library can handle its own things as well. If there is no custom render suggestion, the library will have its own suggestion box, right? And on click and on escape, like when you click on escape, then it should be closing or not. This is also a valid thing to talk about. The another thing is the UI states. So we also take care of what will happen if there are no results, if there is an error, or if there is a loading state, null state. So these UI states also talk about that. Okay, you can pass a callback from in as a prop that if there are no more results, then show no more results callback on error. Like here we can have like an on error, what to do if there is an error. So all these states you can also customize them and pass them as a prop.